Welcome back. Georgina. Okay, ready?
Teacher,
Yes.
mi celular se me descargó y la cámara de mi computadora no sirve. Por eso la tengo apagada.
Okay, thank you.
Ok.
Punto menos.
We're going to play a game. And if the girls win, they'll get an extra point at the end of this unit. If the boys win, they'll get an extra point at the end of this unit, okay? I'm going to share the document once again. Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Perfect. Next in line is Georgina.
Okay, decide.
Georgina, yes, you're going to decide if the following statement is true or false. Okay?
All
I'm
of
going
them.
to I'm going to read it to you. Number one, okay? And you're going to say it's true or false. Ready?
Yes.
Okay, Georgina. It's possible to create authentic and motivating assessment to offer constructive feedback to the learners.
True.
Good. Point for the girls. Okay? Now, Georgina, choose a victim, choose a boy.
Okay. Aaron.
Okay? And Georgina, choose any of the questions except number one to ask Aaron.
Okay. Number 2.
Okay? Aaron, pay
All
attention.
tests should offer the test taker some kind of measurement or result.
Test should offer the test taking. True?
Very good, Aaron. Point for the boys. Now, Aaron, you're going to choose a girl.
A girl.
Yes.
I don't know. Azarelli.
Azarelli. Okay, and ask her any question you want except one and two.
Number 6.
Okay, ask her.
Teachers in Seattle and applying the comments and response to students is an example of formal assessment. Teacher, el águila ahí, qué rayo. Está diciendo la respuesta.
Azarelli, true or false?
I think it's false.
False, okay, very good. Azareli,
count.
choose a boy.
It was correct, my answer?
Yes.
Okay.
Choose a
Ephraim.
Efrain. Okay. Ask him any question you want except 1, 2, and 6.
Number 3.
Okay.
Performance-based tests measure the test taker's knowledge about the language.
I don't know. Base test. I think true.
Sorry.
True.
True. Well, this was the most tricky question. Remember, performance is what you do with the language, how well or how proficient you are using the language. And that's a very different question about what you know about the language. One thing is what you know about the language, how much you know about grammar, how broad is your lexical range, and very different one is how well you perform or how proficient you are using the language. So in this case, the correct answer is false. Okay, Efrain, choose a girl.
Liliana.
Liliana, and ask her question 5, 4, 7, or 8.
Formative always. All right. Formative assessments always points towards the future formation of learning. Number 8. Number 8.
Yes, I'm thinking, sorry.
Okay.
It's true.
Yes, it's true. Because in formative assessment, we are trying to model the student. Okay. So great. Point for the girls. Liliana, choose a boy.
Teacher Christian,
Yes.
Renee is having problems with the internet in her house. Look at the chat, please.
At the chat. Let me check. Chat. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Marisa. Thank you. Liliana, choose a boy.
Okay. Jose Luis.
Okay. And ask him either question 4, 5, or 7.
Okay, number 5. Assessment and testing are synonymous terms.
Sorry, my microphone. I think it's false.
False, exactly. Because testing is a part of assessment. Very good.
That's correct.
Okay. Jose Luis, choose a girl.
Okay, Gabi.
Gabby, and ask her either question 4 or question 7.
Question 7. Most of our classroom assessment is summative assessment.
I think it's true.
In fact, remember, summative assessment is the one that you do at the end of a course or at the end of a school year to provide a final grade. And on the other hand, most of our classroom assessment is formative assessment. So in this case, the correct answer was false. False. Gabby, for the final question, choose a boy.
Al Nacho.
Yes, I was thinking in Ignacio.
Okay,
Because this is
Ignacio.
the last one, or no?
Okay, the last question is for, can you ask her? Can you ask him?
What is the number 4?
Number 4, yes.
Tests are the best tools to assess students.
I mean, it's true.
Remember, tests are, or examinations are one.
Jose Luis, don't say it.
Is one tool. We have many other tools. For instance, in Spanish, lista de cotejo, escala comparativa, rubrics, and many, many, many more. So in this case, the correct answer is false.
No.
So
The
the girls won,
The girls
teacher.
win, yes.
Con esta no.
Porque son mayoría, pues. Son mayoría.
No, pero son las mismas preguntas, no estás diciendo.
Son mayoría. Y además, Gaby hizo
Extra
trampa.
point, extra
Gaby hizo trampa.
point.
Okay, guys, I'm going to begin sharing the other presentation.
Las águilas 8 son chocolate.
There are more?
Okay. Are
They
you
had
seeing,
Marisa. That's cheating.
guys, are you seeing it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Now we're going to go through language assessment and the principles of language assessment, which is very important when we are about to design an assessment tool. Now we were with Lluvia, can you help me, please?
Yes. To read.
Sorry. Before you continue, in activity number 3, you went through 5 main characteristics that the assessment tools should have. We're going to go through them in this presentation. Sorry, Lluvia, continue, please.
Okay, teacher. Practicality, sorry. Practical means is not excessively expensive, stays within appropriate time constraints, is relatively easy to administer and has a scoring evaluation procedure that is specific and time efficient.
Thank you, Lluvia. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Liliana, what kind of assessment tool or examination or test comes to your mind when reading or watching these characteristics?
Well, maybe there are many, but I think for the cost, maybe in internet, it is not excessively expensive. Maybe the TOEFL exam, because it's not too expensive. Maybe for the time too.
Okay. Yes, exactly. A TOEFL test cost in here in Guasave around 600 pesos. So, and for the For the administering facility, for Waleo, for instance, is really, really cheap. Practically the cost of the paper and the time that you're going to pay to the person administering the test, and that's it.
Yes.
So yes, the TOEFL test is a very good example of this. Thank you.
But for the contrary, another test is so expensive is the what is the TOEIC, the TOEIC test.
It's expensive.
I think it's so expensive. Yes,
How much does it cost?
I think 600 pesos.
600 or
I
6,000?
think.
Okay. Well, it
Oh,
costs
sorry, 6,000.
6,000. Oh, it's expensive then. Very expensive. Okay. Thank you. Josue, can you help me, please?
Reliability. A reliable test is consistent and dependable on two different occasions or by different people. The test should yield similar results. Student-related reliability may be caused by temporary illness, fatigue, bad day, anxiety, and other physical or psychological factors.
Thank you. Yes, here in Mexico, well, in the US, they have the SAT in order to enter a university or a college. And here in Mexico, we have the Ceneval, which is pretty much the same, or the TOEFL test, or the TOEIC, or the IELTS. They're reliable. They're consistent and dependable. But maybe the problem comes from the student. Maybe in that particular day that the student is going to take the exam, maybe he has fever, maybe he has the flu, maybe she's just tired, maybe she's suffering much anxiety. For instance, when I took the test or the examination to enter the professional service to win my plaza, the primaria, well, you had to be there at a certain time. For instance, you had to be there at 7:30. And if you got there at 8:05, you weren't allowed to enter to take the test. So those are reliability issues that are on the side of the student or the test taker. Miriam, can you continue, please?
Rater reliability. Human errors, subjectivity, and bias may enter into scoring. Rater reliability occurs when two or more scores yield inconsistent scores. Scoring criteria, inexperience, inattention, preconceived.
Thank you, Miriam. Yes. Now, this happens when some test you are providing open-ended answers, or when they ask you to write a text, maybe a 500 words text or 300-word text, and for the same examination, you have two or more raters. And that brings into a situation some problems, because maybe an answer may be conceived correct for a rater, and the same answer could be considered wrong by another rater. So that's a problem that happens with open-ended examinations, or with examinations where they are asking you to write a text. Efrain, can you continue, please?
Ensure reliability, of course, because of unclear scoring criteria, fatigue, bias toward good and bad students, or carelessness, test administration reliability. Unreliability may also result from the conditions in which the test is administered. Example, street noise, temperature, desk and chairs, the amount of light.
Thank you. Yes, this happens when you know the test taker, and believe it or not, as teachers, maybe you have experienced this. When you receive a test taken by a student that is a good student, well, you presume that he's going to perform well. And in some answers, you kind of help him or help her, and you pass by correct an answer that is obvious. And on the other hand, uh, a student that you consider not so good or bad or a cheater, maybe you're not going to give him or her the same advantages. Or maybe, for instance, in a TOEFL test where it has a part of listening, in some cases the speaker is not working very well, or the speaker is far from your position, or maybe there's a lot of noise from the streets. So that also has to be considered with the reliability of the examination. Um, Aaron, can you help us, please?
Increasing validity. Test reliability. The test itself can cause measurement errors. Example, a long test, a time test, ambiguous test items, or a test item with more than one answer. Validity. The degree to which a test measures what it's supposed to measure, or it can be used successfully for support, for the purpose for which it is, and the last word, I can't see it.
Intended.
Intended.
Intended. Thank you. Yes. Sometimes when we as teachers we don't design very good tests, uh, there can be measurement errors. For instance, this happened to me. As I tell you before, I am providing the examinations to my students using Formularios Google. Uh, but what happened to me is that the last examination that I provided consisted of 30 questions long test. And for each question, I was providing a feedback in case you got the question incorrect. So when I was about in the question 28 or 27, it was my mistake. I I um I said I provided an incorrect answer. So even though the student provided a correct answer, the test was designed to take it as incorrect. So that was my mistake. That was an error that I made, not the student. So somebody told me, hey teacher, question 27 was marked as incorrect, and it was correct. And that's when I took a look to the examination, and yes, I had made a mistake. And I don't know if you have ever taken a test in which you thought that the contents were not specific to the unit. For instance, I remember this subject that I was taking at university, where the subject was about the culture of the state of Sinaloa, and they were asking us questions about the different languages of Mexico. So uh, the question of the test didn't have anything to do with the contents of the subject. So that has to do also with validity. Um, Gabby, can you help us, please?
Yes, validity. For example, a valid test of reading ability actually measures reading ability. 5 types of validity: content validity, criterion related validity, construct validity, consequential validity, and phase validity. Content validity: a test adequately and sufficiently measures the particular skills behavior it sets out to measure.
Thank you. For instance, a test about speaking is supposed to evaluate only speaking, not reading, not writing, only speaking. Thank you. Marisa, can you help us, please?
Examples. A test that requires the learner actually to speak within an authentic context. An oral test asks students to answer multiple choice questions requiring grammatical judgments. Direct testing involves the test taker in actually performing the target task. For example, producing target words orally.
Thank you. Thank you, Marisa. Here in the second example, you can see that the examination isn't valid because the oral test is asking students to answer multiple choice questions, but requiring grammatical judgments. And oral tests more likely are for performance or proficiency examinations. Thank you, Marisa. Azareli, can you help us?
Yes. Validity. In direct testing tests the learner with a task uh, that is related to the target task. For example, in a test of oral production, the mark of stress syllables in a list of written words is only in direct testing. Criterion-related validity, a form of validity in which a test is compared or correlated with an outside criterion measure.
Thank you. For instance, the example is providing for indirect testing. In a test of oral production, the mark of stressed syllables in a list of written words is only indirect testing. Or for instance, when we are going through the plural S, and we are testing, for instance, the sound of the S. Sometimes it sounds like Z, like that. Sometimes it sounds like Z, and sometimes like is. For instance, churches or stops. So in that case, you can sometimes test some indirect aspects, especially in oral production, but that has to be a connection with the content or with the ability or skill that you are assessing. Okay. Jose Luis, can you help us, please?
Of course. Criterion related validity. Um, concurrent validity, a test has concurrent validity if its results are supported by other concurrent performance beyond the assessment itself. For example, a high score of the final exam will be substantiated by actual proficiency if in the language.
Thank you. Thank you.
Predictive validity.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Jose Luis. For instance, imagine that a friend of yours has taken the IELTS test, which for me is the more comprehensive test for English proficiency, and he scores a 9 in all the aspects. 9 in speaking, 9 in writing, a 9 in everything. But you know that he or she doesn't know how to speak English. So the validity of the test, of the examination, in this case the IELTS, isn't very well concurrent with the performance that the person is showing in real life. So that is what this is related to. And on the other hand, predicted validity is when a test accurately predicts future performance. For instance, a language aptitude test predicts second or foreign language ability, which, for instance, are the IELTS, the TOEFL, the TOEIC, and so many more proficiency exams there are now at hand to evaluate proficiency in English, for instance, that for us is a second language or a foreign language. Now, Georgina, can you help us, please?
Construct validity. A construct is any theory, hypothesis, or method that attempts to explain, observe phenomena in our universe of perception. For example, proficiency and communicative competence are linguistic constructs. Construct validity. The test item can reflect the essential aspect of the theory on which the test is based. Example, the relationship between a test of communicative competence and the theory of CC.
Thank you, Georgina. In this case, constant validity has to do more with researching. Researchers often use these kind of examinations to prove that their theory or what they are talking about is correct and is in line with the reality. And here we're providing a very good example that some advocates for communicative teaching language will design communicative examinations that are oriented to prove that their theory or their method is valid or that is working. So this has to do more with research. Renee, can you help us, please?
Yeah, sorry, there is too much noise, but it's okay. Construct validity. The scoring analysis for the interview includes pronunciation, fluency, grammatical accuracy, vocabulary use, and social linguistic appropriateness. If an proficiency interview includes only pronunciation and grammar being evaluated, the construct validity is questionable, TOEFL.
That's why so many universities and so many official institutions in English speaking languages don't, or also universities also, don't accept the TOEFL as a very good example of comprehensive examination because it only evaluates listening, grammar, and reading, and leaves out some very important and key aspects of the English language or English proficiency, such as speaking and such as writing. Okay. Yuvia, can you help us, please?
Teacher, repeat, please.
Can you help us reading this slide?
Yes. Consequential validity. Consequential validity includes all the consequences of a test, including the accuracy in measuring intended criteria, the impact on the preparation of test takers, the effect on the learner, and the social consequences of a test, interpretation, and
Thank you, Yubian. Yes, in this case, in consequential validity, well, takes into consideration all the aspects that involve taking a test or taking an examination. Also, from the curriculum, from the teacher point of view, and from the student point of view, and also from the social consequences that taking a certain text or a certain examination will have. So this is pretty clear. Okay, guys, we have only 3 minutes left for this session. I'm going to cut it short, and we're going to enter the last span of the class, okay? So we can wrap it up. So I'm going to finish this meeting, and we'll enter right away to wrap it up. Okay? So I finish it, and we continue.